watching Force 13's live streaming service. Hello, this is Force 13 Live. Good evening, morning, afternoon, whatever the time might be at your place. Hello, it's 10 PM UTC here in the UK and on the Universal Clock, of course. My name's Nathan Foy and we've got a few things to discuss this evening. It's mainly going to be a summarisation of the week that's just gone with a few things that have happened. Obviously, Cyclone Dineo, which has just about dissipated over Botswana, of all places. It's the second storm to ever make it into Zimbabwe as a tropical storm. The other one was Leon, and I think is the first. Well, it depends how strong it was when it entered into Botswana, whether it was a tropical storm or not. The jury's out on that. I'm joined by the Skype team, consisting this evening of David, Cesar, Craig, and Marcel. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening, everybody.
Fantastic. And if we flick over to the next shot, oh, there's my place, my workstation. Hello, how are you? I'm over here, not over there. And the Skype team are over there somewhere. And we've got two cameras now. Wonderful. Fantastic. Here in the Force 13 studio. Anyway, you don't want to look at me anymore. Let's go back to... Shut up, the satellite imagery. Well, this is satellite imagery of 91p, by the way. That's another system that could be on the radar very soon. And I guess I'm going to hand this over to David, because he is over in Australia with more.
And guess what? My browser has just crashed. But however, here we go.
A fun night tonight, isn't it?
I wasn't expecting.
I think so.
Okay.
Yes.
Nathan, you got that? This
No.
is the latest.
Yes. Okay, there's the latest track map from the Bureau of Meteorology.
And I've got the details at 4 a.m. Local time. And this is via the Northern Territory Bureau of Meteorology Office. Tropical low sustained winds in the centre of 35 kilometres per hour with wind gusts at 85 kilometres per hour. Location within 45 kilometres of 16.9 degrees south, 136.7 degrees east, estimated to be 265 kilometres west of Mornington Island and 100 kilometres southeast of Borroloola. And I think you can see
And this is
the
going
location.
to be our potential next storm. It depends how you number them, but it's either the third or fourth cyclone of the year it will be, 2017, which is still well below average. The quietest start, as I've always been saying on storm updates, the quietest start to a calendar year, storm-wise, since 1919, 98 years. And that will help change things a little bit. But me and David agree that we should have had Alfred a long time ago, back in late January with 03S.
Yes. And just a bit more to the latest info, the tropical low 91p has moved west in the last few hours. It is expected to curve towards the northwest during Saturday, remaining over land. It's expected to move back over water early Sunday.
Not till Sunday, yeah.
That's right. So 24 hours later. And yesterday, or was it Thursday, the Bureau was warning that it would be a Cat 1 on landfall. And unfortunately, the Bureau has really got it wrong, but
They've put their
it
foot
shows.
in it, haven't they?
Yes, they have put their foot in it, but and it's something I could talk about for a few extra minutes. Okay, movement of 91p is west at 13 kilometres
now.
per hour.
Well, looking at the satellite imagery, does that support it? I think there might be a northward component in there a little bit. West-northwest is what I would say right now, David.
Yes, I think I haven't got the radar, but I'm going to bring up this one, Nathan, and
okay.
now this is in New Guinea loop.
That's a shot of the storm. It's at the very bottom of the screen there. There has been a flare-up in the last few hours. That is very notable. And I guess it must be a very moist environment in the Gulf there, because it was producing massive flare-ups before it moved overland. As well.
Well, for our international viewers, keep an eye on the 4 to 13 Australia Oceania channel. Jason, who is based over in Perth on the west coast of Australia. I'm based here in Brisbane on the east coast, capital Queensland. Between Jason and I, we operate the AU channel, and I've put up on the channel, I think it's 4 videos now. We 91p, and sea surface temperatures not an issue. It was 32, but I think it's around 30, 31 at present. So
Not
that's
bad.
the New Guinea loop. Now, I'm going to fire up this model.
What's this?
I thought you'll find it interesting. 91p, and caution's got to be applied because models are run numerous times. You can see the purple, they're individual members of a particular model, and how...
Ensemble members, yes.
Yep. So that's that one. That's the NCEP GEFS. Now we switch over to this one. Now this is the latest. I think this is the latest track.
Right, that's another variation, yes.
Yeah, variation.
Very loopy.
Well, I did mention...
Who's got dizziness?
Yeah, we're getting dizzy.
Cyclone Emerald would be proud of that.
Oh, no. No more, please.
But listen, I'm actually favouring the COTC. Now, I need help for which model. Is that the Canadian?
The what?
The COTC.
The C...
OTC.
The CODC?
CC.
Sorry,
Yeah,
the C... The
Are they on the...
Oh, it's there. COTC.
What?
Yes.
It could
Come
be.
on.
It could.
Yeah, well,
It might well
my
be. Yeah.
goodness.
Marcel's here as well. Hi, Marcel. How are you?
I myself. But then you look at the HWRF, which
Yes.
Nathan
HWRF.
favours.
Well, I did. Models change
Last
every
year.
year. 2016, it was fantastic model of the year, I would say. 2017, so far, it's done a terrible job. It did an awful job with Carlos. Said it would be a Category 4 hurricane cyclone. And Dineo, it said, what did it say?
Cat 4.
Did it
I
really?
think they say it will cut 3.
Cat 3 or Cat 4
Cat
as
3,
well.
Cat 4, right?
So, you know, HWRF is nuts, at least in the southern hemisphere, but obviously it's untested in 2017 in the northern hemisphere, so we'll wait to see if it verifies up there. But in the southern hemisphere, I take it at a grain of salt.
Okay, now
Track
we go
and
to...
intensity, because its track forecasts were way off as well.
Well, I'm actually I'm favouring the COTC because it brings it down towards
Yes,
my area.
you would,
But
wouldn't you?
then there's that one. But I'm thinking of Tropical Cyclone Oswald
Hmm.
because it was a Cat 1 and it came straight down into northern New South Wales and back out. But for the Force 13 AU Oceania channel, I am planning to do a video on Oswald, but what I'm going to do is see how crazy it is.
Right. Oh, goodness.
These are all the tracks that the Bureau has posted
Is that so?
far.
Already?
Yeah.
My God, they've been busy. David,
And-
we'll pick this up later, if that's okay.
Yep.
I want to move on to the other news that we've got today. Obviously, we're still tracking the remnants of Cyclone Dineo, which is over Botswana right now. And if we could get that up on the screen, that would be quite nice. You've been looking at it a lot in the lead up to the beginning of the stream, and when we're on the stream, I can't get it up to show you. There's everyone on the Skype team, by the way. David, Cesar, Craig, and Marcel. And Cesar, we've not heard from you yet today in the show. How's things going in Mexico?
Things here are going very well. Today and yesterday we had very windy night. Well, today is afternoon. Sorry, but well, it's very windy right now, and yesterday was as well windy. I think it was caused by a cold front approaching the country. We registered 30 to 40 miles per hour winds, and well, it has been reported some trees falling and some buildings with damages so far. But well, it's pretty hot in my place despite it's winter, 23 degrees Celsius so far.
Not bad, wish I was there. We've had mild temperatures recently. Today had a high of 12 Celsius. Can you believe it? We're still at 10 right now at 10 p.m. So that's quite nice.
Well, and right now your place is 10 degrees Celsius.
Yes, indeed.
So cold. Well, you're more than welcome here to
You're
enjoy
right. It is cold.
Well,
go on.
You're more than welcome here to enjoy a little bit of the heat that is around here.
Yeah.
If you want.
Thank you. There you can see in the very centre of your image is what's left of Cyclone Dineo, still looking rather impressive. There's still flood warnings in effect in South Africa, by the way, for the eastern provinces. One's called Limpopo and the other one I can't remember the name of because it's so long. Thank you, Marcel. Thank you. Marcel knows everything about South Africa despite not living there. But the flood warnings are there, but I wonder whether they're required anymore because looking at a satellite image, there's not really much going on in South Africa anymore, and what's left of the storm itself, all its moisture is pretty much entirely over Botswana, and it's about to enter Namibia as well in the coming hours. South Atlantic, don't be silly. The temperatures off the coast of Namibia and the sea surface temperatures are 20 Celsius. Good luck with that, if it ever makes it to the South Atlantic. It's not going to happen, folks.
No.
Don't get your hopes up. Don't get your hopes up.
Get your hopes up. You bet. We're no.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. Now let's also take a look at Invest 90p, which has been pretty impressive today. It was showing some big signs, big convective bursts. You can see on the left-hand side of the screen below me. You can see those big convective bursts that happened at the spiral bands, looking pretty good. But the convection has almost been entirely off the centre of the storm, hasn't really been over the storm centre, and therefore I don't think we can call it a tropical cyclone, and it's probably blown its chances. It's expected to move south-southeast for most of the time, and then move off to the east when it gets to about 40 degrees south, believe it or not. Could be a powerful extratropical cyclone down there. Not going to affect any land areas. The closest place it will probably get to is, I think, the Pitcairn Islands. Not that many storms get that far, but it's been done many times. But the Pitcairn Islands themselves have never had a storm impact them before. Storms have passed to its north and south. This one will pass well to its south, incidentally. And that is pretty much the tropics in a nutshell tonight.
I got some developing news.
Oh, go ahead.
I think the Bureau's track for 91p has just been completely blown out of the water.
Goodness.
Because they're showing a due north track to be located 15 south, 138 east. It's currently 1,000 and is to drop to 999. But the Bureau's high seas information, which is updated every 12 hours. I'm just looking at it, Nathan, and they have it tracking to north.
Well, that's interesting. That's very interesting to see that it's tracking due north. Let's just grab the wide shot of the storm now. You can see how it's been doing in the last few frames. I gotta say, David, it could possibly be happening. It's difficult to tell. I'd go cautiously with northwest right now, but that big flare-up of convection is still maintaining itself, probably directly above, what is it, Port MacArthur was it called?
Yes, it's actually to the east of Port, south-south-east.
Yeah, west.
Of
probably south-southwest now.
Port MacArthur.
Alright.
And the Boalua pronunciations I don't like sometimes, but the pressure was increasing at that location.
As it would, yes. Yep. Because the storm is probably weakening overland. But
Nathan, I should also mention that the next update from the Tropical Cyclone Warning Centre will be 11 o'clock Northern Territory time. I think they're about 20 minutes later than my location.
Okay, well, we have a few other items to discuss this evening. I wonder whether Craig might want to lead us with one of those.
Yes.
Whichever one you want to put forward.
Well, I'm going to scare a lot of folk and say, on this day, yes, on this day, a year ago, a year already, where the heck's time gone? The infamous Cyclone Winston would have been put back up to 95 knots at 18Z and would be about to regain Category 3 intensity for the second time in his life before weakening back down at 06Z tomorrow morning and then regaining Category 3 status again for the third time and be the first ever, my mind serves me correctly, the first ever South Pacific cyclone to do so, to reach Cat 3 three times.
I can't remember what the record was. But
I think it's that.
Possibly.
And pretty much for Fiji and all the Fijian islands, it was, how can I say, downhill from there. Then obviously, as due course ago it went, Winston became the storm of unimaginable proportions, shall we say. The storm that wouldn't die. shall
No,
we
no,
say?
no, you're talking about the wrong storm. You mean Katrina Victor Cindy? Ouch.
Not that.
Winston.
Not that. Winston, by far, in my mind, is a
Someone's brought a dog
storm.
with them into the studio.
Darn it, Caesar!
I didn't know you could do a dog impression, Cesar. You may as well continue and humour us here.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, go ahead, Craig.
Oh.
There's Winston.
Sorry for the
Yes.
dog.
No, but if the screen share has caught
Yes,
up
yes,
anyway.
it's go.
This is the image that would have been displayed round about at this time. Cyclone Winston would have been back up to 95 knots. You can see there the minus 80 and minus 85 cloud tops on the eastern side of the eye wall, and the western side weaker than what it was.
And the eye.
I don't know what other comments you've got on it.
Well,
Apart from that, I mean, the eye.
The eye, was it coming out there? Just skip forward a little bit, maybe.
Yeah,
and see what
well,
it was up
I
to.
was doing an eye wall replacement at that point. You can see there that you can see the secondary eye wall there, and the old eye. I see when it comes out, you'll start seeing some like crab-like pincers forming. Here's the
Right.
new eye that is broken out of the eye wall. You can see there that the eye wall is clearly broken. But this is what's supposed to be the eye. This is clearly This was lucky to be a category 2, to be honest. But category 2, you could be honest, you could live with.
The southwestern eye
especially
wall got
when it was-
wrecked.
Oh, it got poor because it was getting sheared, and what happens next is just completely weird. The eye wall, as you'd expect, when a storm gets into favourable conditions, would blow up again.
Yeah.
But if you watch very, very closely as I go frame by frame, look at the upper levels. They are not spinning. They aren't spinning. If you look at the lower level through the eye, they are spinning. The upper level isn't. Now, that's what I found very, very interesting, is that why the upper level was not spinning. Why was the mid-level to low-level just spinning? I think that the upper level was, in a way, disconnected from the rest of the LLCC, in a way.
That can
But then-
happen.
Yes, and in a way, you see here, it looks like a spiky ball now. It
Well,
just
we're
looks like a
trying to
spiky
see, but we've got delay here. It's not loaded or up to date at this point. Craig with his screen share woes yet again.
And on today's feature of Screen Share Horrors,
Yeah, something like that.
we should make a soap series out of this, really.
Probably good.
Really should.
But there we are. That
If the screen share-
that was Winston. So at this point, it was, what was it doing? It was about to take that loop.
No, it's already, by this point, he's already finished his stalling.
He's
So
already,
he's already
headed for
finished.
Fiji at this point. Is that right?
He's already heading for Fiji, and
Wow.
and at this point, from here on, you're watching now the formation of an annular cyclone. What an annular cyclone is, for those that don't know, on the screen share here, is basically just shy of an annular cyclone. Yeah, somewhere. At about some way in the distance, there's a screen share.
And we've still got the 9 o'clock view from the 18th, and you can actually see the potential formation of the eye wall, the
Yes.
angular characteristics, even at that early stage.
Yeah. But for those
now
that don't
it's
know,
finally updated.
Yes, but here's where you can see what the annular characteristics are. I mean, you can see here the lack of spiral bands, which is basically what's another key factor to
Compare
a
with the
annular
storms that
cycle.
you're looking on the left-hand side of your screen.
Yes.
Very weak, of course, but even they have
basically-
more spiral bands than Winston.
Yes, and this big blob of convection right next to Winston is what he did to the ITZ zone, which was the intertropical convergence zone. He physically bent it near enough a full 90 degrees, which was completely horrifying. Considering that his strength and the storm at his magnitude was able to do that to a very active, very strong intertropical convergence zone. Now, for what he did next, obviously, yes, it became annular, and basically was what an annular is basically no spiral bands, larger than normal eye, so basically the eye wall is bigger, and it is more resistant to wind shear, landfall, and also dry air. So it can basically, say, hit a massive area of dry air and probably still come out relatively fine and still hold annular characteristics. But what led to Winston becoming annular was that the eye wall replacement that you would have seen, hopefully, when he stalled, after he stalled, and when the second, sort of, but I'll describe it to the best of my abilities anyway, is that the eye wall broke, and that is basically a failed eye wall replacement. So basically he failed it, meaning that obviously it's 50-50. He's gonna die, or he's gonna somehow thrive off of it. Unfortunately, Winston, the jammy so-and-so that he was, thrived off of it. And then basically, to my amazement, and to my surprise, Fiji's first ever Cat 5 landfall.
Yes.
I'd have thought at this day and age, shall we say, there would, Fiji would have been hit by a Cat 5.
Well, Cyclone Evan of 2012 was a warning shot.
Yeah, and then literally
the coast of Fiji is a Cat 4.
But would have been what on the Australian scale?
No, on the Saffir-Simpson scale.
What was it on the Australian scale?
Evan was that Australian scale as well, I think.
Yeah, but I think Evan, if anything, to that, Evan was certainly a warning shot. And you got to get alarm bells ringing, but then again, after a while, you don't get cyclone threats. I mean, what was the closest they came to last, apart from Winston? 2015 season would probably be the closest you'd get. But probably a Cat 5 would have been Pam, but that would have been the only Cat 5 threat, even though it didn't hit Fiji, it hit Vanuatu instead. But Winston is tracked in a way near enough alive for how long? Near enough a month, was it? Whatever's left of it.
A while. Well, it did end up making it to Australia in the end, didn't it? Yeah. Yes,
it made it. It pretty much made it near enough the entire South Pacific. It did the entire trek, basically being tropical, subtropical, extratropical for a little bit, then back to subtropical. He basically went through the entire tropical characteristics in his entire lifetime. Winston is just basically one of them freak storms. The track is basically a very rare occurrence. That's going to be, I'm not going to say once in a lifetime opportunity, but it might be. But I certainly wouldn't see a track like that again. Not for a while. But a storm at Winston's strength, yes, is very likely to happen again. A landfall at that side of Fiji, not very likely, but it is still a chance. But landfall in Fiji again, yes, is still likely. It is still very likely that Fiji could see another cyclone. Maybe not another Winston. Say the strength of another Ola or Zena or Cyclone Pac-Man, as we call it.
Anything.
Yes.
Hey.
Or say, what was the weakest one?
Go on.
Cyclone. It would have been Zena. The weakest cyclone would have been Zena. But Cat 1 or tropical storm would be another wake-up call for Fiji, saying, heads up here, there could be a big one coming. Not necessarily, not trying to panic anybody.
Well, we're halfway through the show. We're here for just the hour tonight. We expect, at least, unless someone keeps
Yes.
us too long. But at this halfway point, I wonder whether David has an update for us in Australia and has any news and anything else that you want to say about 91P and anything else that's going on in the tropics down there.
Before we do that, we've got this red alert volcano over in the Bering Sea. I'll just bring up the screen share for a minute.
Please do. So, is this a volcano that's going off now, or?
So I think it's a volcano ash. Hazardous eruption is imminent, underway, or suspected. And it will result in a aviation alert. So that's in the Bering Sea. Now, I think it's that one. Okay, this is the current
Radar.
of 91P, Mornington Island station.
And by the way, if anyone's got any thoughts about what we've been discussing this evening, do send in your comments. We'll take your comments later on. And I know there's been some comments about California. That is one of the topics that we will be covering in the second half of our show as well. So stay tuned for that. David.
So looking at the radar for Craig and yourself, Nathan, any thoughts on the rain? The rainfall is actually picking up.
Well, it doesn't tell us very much. Could you zoom
No.
out on that? Try the composite. Does it have the storm? The centre of the storm? We can't see it, can we? It's undiscernible on radar.
We'll come back down. We'll come back down to 128.
Well, yeah, that's close up, but that's from Mornington Island, nowhere near the storm.
That's right. So basically, you've virtually got to rely on the satellite, but wherever
it definitely
it is,
has the circulation, of course. There's no dispute on that. But just as what's going on
probably
around
there
it.
somewhere.
No, it's going to be further west
No?
than that. It's going to be further west
Well,
than that, further away. Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's just no. What about the satellite? It's not.
Well, the satellite's showing us what it's showing us, and the convection over the centre of the storm recently. And if we have an updated image of that, well, yes, we do, but it doesn't really tell us very much that we haven't already seen. So nothing really new on that one. But back to this eruption, or so-called eruption. What do we know about this volcano? Any eruptive history, or?
I think we'll have to take that one on notice. I will have to.
Well, you research that
Put it
whilst
to-
we go on to our next topic.
Lee.
And the next topic, I guess, we'll be moving on to what's going on in California. Craig, you've been monitoring this, have you not?
Yes, I have. And I've seen the forecast for the Californian area, and I'm just seeing, well, there's supposed to be more rain for the area, and I can guarantee you that's the last thing that they need, especially with the dam that has got a emergency spillway, which everybody probably knows about by now, going by off the news, that there is a 30-foot hole in the emergency spillway. That in its own right is alarming, because it's forced, I can't remember the evacuation numbers, but I know a lot of people have been evacuated. I know the National Guard has put the state under. I can't remember what it is as well. Shows you how unprepared I am with that. Can't remember it. But but thousands of people have been evacuated from their homes, put into shelters, just in case if the emergency spillway does completely give out and just gives up. Which, for emergency spillway in America's largest dam, which is concerning, seeing that it is America's biggest dam, seeing that has got major problems. I mean, major problems. But you wouldn't really expect to see that with a dam at that, that integrity. You wouldn't really expect to see that sort of problem, would you? Not a dam that's got an emergency spillway, which all dams have, and just suddenly one day gets a whopping great big 30-foot hole in it, and it's now risking delivering catastrophic flooding.
Yeah. Cesar, ironically, you're closest to this incident. Are you worried?
No. No, because it's not because I'm the nearest person in that volcano. It means that I'm
Not the
in risk.
volcano.
Sorry, I really confused volcano with.
You're probably the closest to that as well, ironically. But yeah.
Well, but I'm like how many miles? 1,000 miles.
Okay. Craig, by the way,
point.
someone wanted us to show the radar of what's going on in California right now. There's a storm system headed that way. I don't know if you could do that for us whilst we talk to Cesar.
Yes, I'll get that up as fast as I can.
Cesar, as you were saying?
No, I was just laughing.
Oh, you finished. Oh, that's a shame.
Damn it, Cesar! You were supposed to buy me time.
Yeah, you're supposed to buy him time.
Cesar,
sorry.
You
Sometimes I don't know what to say.
Well, viewers, if you want to buy
Craig,
Craig some time, you can ask some questions. As CHD Returns has, what do you think will happen with the dam? Now, I've not really been following this very much, so I'm leaving it to you guys to answer these questions.
That's really the main question. What will happen to it? I honestly don't know what will happen with it. I hope it stays up. I hope it holds.
Oh, clearly.
I'm hoping that the flood waters and the bad conditions stop and allow the water to run off, dry out, so they can get back and build and repair. Well, repair the emergency spillway. Because obviously before that there's going to be a massive investigation into how the heck did this happen? How did it happen? Why did it happen? What caused it? How can we avoid it? What do we need to do to improve it? What do we need to do?
I don't understand this, basically. What is the danger, and how do people know? How do they know that there's a danger right now?
Well, from what I've heard...
Is the dam in the process of being breached slowly or something?
Well, from what I've heard, yes. From what I have heard. So don't shoot the messenger if I'm wrong.
That would make sense.
Yes. From what I've heard, yes. And as far as I'm aware, it really is... I'm confused in how it's happened. I literally am confused in how it's happened. Apart from the obvious nature, it could be too much water, but it might not have been. It might have been a structural fault.
Oh, of course, it's been a very wet winter over there, hasn't it?
Yeah, it might have been too much water going over it. Hell, that might be a doubt, but it's still a possibility. Structural fault might be. We just don't. I have all the. I'm confused.
Or a combination of those things.
Or it might be both. Literally, as Nathan said, it could be both. Basically, as a combination.
Marcel, how are the weather conditions in Colombia?
Today, it was cloudy the most part of the day, but in this hour, 5:39 p.m. is clearing.
That's good. It's always cloudy there, is it not?
No,
All right.
because recently we had clear days.
You had
Mhm.
what? Clear
Clear-
days. Clear days. Okay. Good.
He's good.
I'm glad of
He
it.
gets-
What was the temperature on these clear days?
Today I think
What was the temperature, Marcel?
Yes, we're hanging on the end of that word, Marcel.
okay. I am
We're on the edge of a cliff
looking.
here, hanging.
Ah, yes,
Ah.
he's checking.
I found news.
Just like
and
the
I know
live
it's-
stream is. If you don't tell us what happened pretty soon, everyone will fall off the cliff.
Today the maximum temperature was 17 at 11
Oh, I could
11
have guessed that.
11
It's
a.m.
always 17 degrees.
But
You've got probably the
at-
most
at
predictable
3
weather
p.m.
in the
it
world.
was-
And I thought that
it
was
was-
here.
it
Yeah, so
was
did I.
15 degrees
Okay.
Celsius. But
Yes.
There's a
just
fault here.
today
Yes.
the maximum temperature at 1 p.m. was, I think, 20.
Not
You
bad.
think?
Not bad at all. Good
No,
temperature.
20.
20. That's pretty warm.
Oh my
Um,
God.
Jesus, how are
2000.
you alive?
Now.
20.
Okay.
20,
Okay. We've
20.
got two more things to discuss that I want us to discuss tonight. Now, some models have been hinting, and in fact, 4 models today, that the CMC, the ECMWF, the NavGem, and the GFS model have all said that on February the 23rd, something will be in the Gulf of Mexico. But what is that something? Hints a few days ago that it
no.
might be a subtropical storm, but who knows what might arrive in the Gulf of Mexico in 6 days' time. All the models say it'll be pretty weak, but it is a pretty interesting feature indeed. And it would be, if it was to develop into any sort of storm, wouldn't that
Please,
be the
I don't want
second
to.
cyclone of any kind ever in the Atlantic in February?
Will be the first subtropical system in the Gulf of Mexico.
I
to
don't
form
want
out
another,
of the system.
and I don't want another early season.
Well, unfortunately, we can't control what the Atlantic wants to
Four
do.
models say that something will get there in 6 days, and I don't really know what that something's going to be, but that's something for everyone to watch. February 23rd, watch the Gulf of Mexico.
I've seen model runs for it, but the isobars they don't really show a subtropical look to it. It's more of an extratropical look to it, but
Okay.
it might become subtropical. It looks like it formed from what I've seen anyway from the whatever time I've had to look at the models. The model runs that I've looked at, it looks like it forms off of a low pressure area, comes out onto the Gulf of Mexico off of an area that potentially spawns, well, could be another tornadic area of very, very nasty weather for the Texas region and Mississippi Valley. It's a bit far-fetched to say that will happen.
Yes,
I'm certainly
no
hoping it
doubt
won't.
it's going to be far-fetched, but just pointing that out, that something
Yeah.
is going to be there in 6 days.
It
Could
will
be
be very
not going.
interesting to see.
Yeah.
Could.
So I
going.
guess we can bring on some general questions then. It's getting that time of year. When do you think we'll get our first... Well, actually, we can expand this. Our first Northern Hemisphere storm.
Drum roll, please.
Well, it will be in the West Pacific.
You sure about that? Didn't happen
Well,
last year, did it?
exactly.
Or did it? No, it didn't.
Well,
No, it
Of course
didn't.
didn't.
it just happened the first time since 1997, and I don't think it will happen twice consecutive.
Well, I guess
in
this
time.
brings on another topic, actually. Are we going to enter another El Nino? Hints of it
Um,
are happening
it's
on the
possible-
eastern
it's
side of the
possible.
Pacific, warm anomalies.
No
It is
more,
quite possible. They were
please.
predicting that a weak El Nino will form maybe through the year.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Craig, your thoughts?
No more, please.
Marcel, how about you? Your quote's been taken already. You gotta say something else.
Okay.
Nice. David, how about you?
I say no.
You think there'll be no El Nino?
No.
Okay. And when do you think the first Northern Hemisphere storm will form?
West Pacific.
I didn't say where.
No.
Might be the North
Thank
Indian.
you.
Might be the North Indian, Cesar. And then you'll have egg on your
Just
face.
something.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true. West Pacific.
Stop saying that.
Well, we look at the tropical cyclone formation probability. There's a little bit of purple in Westpac.
Right. Well,
And it's a little bit-
Cesar's validated then. Okay.
So I support Westpac.
All right. Is there any further points that anyone wants to pick up on before we go on to the last point of the evening? About either this subtropical storm or whatever it is in the Gulf or El Nino.
Well, I'd like to get my thoughts, on that
Yes.
this Northern Hemisphere storm. To be honest, you'd expect it to be coming from the Western Pacific. I probably would say Western Pacific, but the way it's going, it could be, say, another 2016 late start. Not saying there's going to be a Cat 5 to start it off.
Well, we've not had Winston.
We have Winston. We would have Winston. Darn it.
We've not had a Winston in 2017. It's nothing like last year. Craig's lost it. He's lost it.
Yeah, I lost it a long time ago.
All right. Yeah, probably during the which updates? Typhoon Milor or earlier than that, maybe.
During
Outside.
Hurricane Patricia.
Oh yes, which actually is the final topic for tonight.
Oh,
Nice work, Cesar. And
Well,
everyone's going to get annoyed now.
I always do nice work.
Yes, Hurricane Patricia is on the topics for tonight as I lift the camera up slightly, and the reason why is because a paper has come out in the last week for the American Meteorological Society about Hurricane Patricia and talking about it, and concludes or says two little things that I'd just like to point out. Is that everyone makes a huge deal about how Patricia is the supposed strongest storm ever, or one of the strongest storms ever. It is one of. I personally think it's only the third strongest storm ever, as per Force 13's database analysis, but is the second most intense storm ever, with our analysis saying 208 miles per hour and a pressure of 871 millibars. But the good thing about the report is that it does acknowledge that previous storms in the West Pacific, after Reconnaissance flights stopped in 1987, may have been as strong or stronger. If Devon was here, he'd tell you all about Typhoon Mike, which according to him was 863 millibars. Good luck with that. Typhoon Gay of 1992, which was something like 867 according to him. Nuts if you ask me. And other storms maybe like Typhoon Nida or whatever. Typhoon Angela as well of 1995. Was also very strong possible contenders with Patricia if you look at the imagery. It also said, the report, that the National Hurricane Center for their reanalysis relied, it doesn't say explicitly, but it implies that the National Hurricane Center relied on the advanced Dvorak technique alone for determining its final result, rather than what they measured in the flights into the storm, or anything else. And I wonder what your guys' thoughts on that might be.
Well, I'm just gonna get this off my chest right now, right here and now. Patricia was by far not even 215.
Okay.
Well, just
There
to
is.
say that in first instance that Patricia is highly overrated,
Agreed.
and well, Patricia was really intense, but I mean, I don't
Not as
believe
intense
that
as they said it
Patricia
was.
was 215. Hey, finally I haven't made a mistake about saying 2015.
Yes, the blooper reel. Yes, remember that?
That's right.
Cesar said 2015 miles an hour.
He hasn't.
Yep.
He hasn't done a hiccup yet.
So Cesar, who's the one overestimating the storm? Overhyping the
Well,
storm. You say 2015. Go
well,
on.
I think I did overrated the storm saying 2015 miles per hour.
There was
But,
a-
well,
Oh,
that's
Lord,
other
you have
story.
Honest mistake. Go ahead.
Well, Patricia wasn't 215 miles per hour for sure. The plane flew through the storm and found 2,000 miles per hour and 879 millibars.
2,000.
He's done it again.
I said 2,000. Oh no.
Yes, he said 2000.
Oh.
How's the
Ah,
recon?
What are we
How's
gonna
the
do with
recon
you?
plane still
I
in one
don't
piece?
know. 200 miles per hour and 800 millibar, 879
800
millibars.
millibars. Oh,
879.
did you say 839 just then?
No, 79.
879. Thank you very much. So
No, I haven't
let's
said
get serious for a
879.
moment. Just please, can we
So-
get serious? Do you agree with that?
No, well, I agree with the final results of the plane, but not with the reanalysis.
Right. So you're going to say then it was 208.79.
Yes, I also agree with Caesar. I mean, I think that the
Fine.
NHC and Patricia dissipated 200 miles an hour, 879 millibars, well, 878 after the second recon, but I still say 879. I'd agree with Caesar.
Okay.
What?
That after that, when Patricia dissipated, leave it. Don't upgrade it.
I really like playing about with the numbers.
Uh,
Marcel, any thoughts about this?
I think Patricia's overrated.
Yes. The question was not, though, is Patricia overrated? The question was, if there was one, what are your findings? What do you think about the fact that the National Hurricane Center used the advanced Dvorak technique alone to ascertain this post-analysis?
Not. That was inconceivable because that's not the form to reanalyze a storm.
Well, especially
Yeah.
when you've got observations from planes, which they always tell us, surface observations and plane observations always beat satellite observations.
Yeah.
They're ignoring themselves, aren't they?
They're contradicting their own rule.
The problem I have with the Dvorak technique is because almost all the time the storms are being studied about its look or its aspect. I don't know how is the word in English. And they estimate an intensity based on how good looks the storm.
Well, this raises an interesting point, actually. Have they changed their policy? Is it now that they do not necessarily go with plane observations or ground observations ahead of satellite observations? Because they've done the same with Hurricane Joaquin and Hurricane Matthew. Because apparently the planes reported a wind speed of 100 and... well, a Category 5 wind speed in Hurricane Joaquin, believe it or not, which I think is outrageous.
Well,
And
they found
165 miles an hour in Matthew, yet they didn't go with those numbers.
They found 165 miles
they
per
did.
hour in Joaquin, but in flight levels, I think.
No,
Well-
apparently one flight had Joaquin as a Category 5, but the National Hurricane Center did not go with
ground.
those numbers. Yeah,
I agree,
so
because it
Well,
wasn't.
have they changed their policy
Actually-
then?
Actually, I have like a debate. Sorry, I'm not sure if Joaquin was that strong because it intensified really quickly and intensified really, and weakened really quickly
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And well, the plane was there during that peak intensity. Well, they record 165 miles per hour in plane.
Whoa.
Sorry, at ground. What the hell is
I wouldn't
going
even
on
call
with
it
me?
ground.
No,
At flight
Oh,
levels.
I said flight level.
But
Alright.
I don't know. I think you remember a little bit when Joaquin existed. I said that it was a Cat 5, and
Yep.
but right now I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it really was a Cat 5 for a briefly short period of time. But that's another story.
Some questions. We're about to wrap up here, by the way. CHD Returns says, why did reconnaissance flights stop? Referring to the Westpac, I believe, after 1987.
Yes.
I think it's because the Japanese took over the JMA, and they're not doing flights until now.
Yeah. And my reaction when I seen it come out,
They are starting to do reconnaissance flights. I don't know what their procedure is, but it's going to happen soon.
That's really nice because they always estimate the winds and pressure of the storms, and I think that talks very bad or misinforms the people.
I find that estimating the wind speeds and the air pressure in a typhoon around a tropical storm in the Western Pacific, just going off a satellite, that's the worst idea to do advisories on. Use planes, please.
Okay.
Lord. No.
Well, we're about to finish up here. So, does anyone have anything that they'd like to contribute? And otherwise, hold your peace.
Just here in the South Pacific, I'm just looking at the latest synoptic chart from Nandi. And we have a tropical depression 14 to the east of New Caledonia, or let's say southeast of Vanuatu. We've got tropical depression 12 to the northwest of Tonga, and there's a 1004 low to the northwest of the northern Cook's Island, or northeast of Samoa.
Craig, could you bring us up some satellite imagery of what's going on in California at all? As someone has asked just now, before we finish up here.
Yes, the situation in California, apparently there's been some form of repair ran on it, described as the patch and pray. That patch and pray doesn't give me a lot of confidence.
Oh my goodness.
Patch and pray, literally, patch and pray is one of them moments. It's just basically hit it and hope. So hit it and hope, see if it works.
I see.
Do that. Best question is, how did they get there, and how did they stop all that water from getting over the emergency spillway? Unless they got a system that can close that. But here's the situation that's in California right now.
Yeah.
The screen share doesn't take a million years to load.
We've got it all right.
Jesus. Here you can see a windstorm or extratropical cyclone impacting California right now. Basically, here's the worst of it is basically the north eastern quadrant of the storm. Obviously, here is basically the dry air inflow, so it's basically hauling in some dry air into its centers. You'll see with a classic windstorm or classic extratropical cyclone. A good example of that is this one here. A nice dry center off to the right hand or left hand side of the screen, of my screen anyway, north of Hawaii. And you can see this is going to dump. This really is going to dump a lot of rain. I've seen in the National Weather Service that they've issued flash flood warnings. I'm really not surprised with the amount of rain this thing could dump. It's going to be very interesting to see what this windstorm on the left is going to do.
Yes,
Whether this one will impact California, and also on the Gulf Coast. You may have noticed these area thunderstorms. I've also been keeping an eye on these. There's also a special marine warning in effect at the minute for the Gulf Coast area. I think it's just off of on the Texan coast anyway. This could be another area which could move over the over Mississippi, in eastern Texas, and possibly become another tornado event, maybe with a severe thunderstorm event, possible. But I think Hank would probably be the better person to ask for that one, seeing as how he's closest to that region. I had a look at the Storm Prediction Center today. They had a small chance. That's basically for everything. Tornadoes practically non-existent, so that's all good news there. Hail was nothing. Wind was nothing. So pretty much just thunderstorms possible. The odd water spout if you're down on the coast. But the main concern, as far as I'm mainly aware, is going to be the California dam, which is possibly at risk from this extratropical cyclone, which
and we'll
is impacting.
continue monitoring that.